I got an opening question for you. Looking for a rib joint, a drive-in rib joint where when I park my car, roll the window, they put a little tray on the door, and I want to rack a rib so big that it tips my car over on its side, just like Fred Flintstone's rack of ribs. They don't boil their ribs. Tony Roma doesn't boil their ribs. Have you checked out the Barbershop movie? Barbershop is a pretty good comedy, I think. I think it's funny. The sub story, these two idiots stealing the ATM, is as funny as it gets. It's hysterical. That's a line from Barbershop. Corey Johnson with you, a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, you heard me right. Fantasy Friday. I love it. A Friday. Fantastic. I might drop some coals and do some ribs. You know, for me, it's like me and a date or me and a buddy and I'm doing ribs. I end up doing like 4 racks of ribs. And then I'm like, what do I do with these ribs? I'm like looking for people to give them away to. And then when I do ribs, it's like a 6-hour thing. I'm trying to get at least 6 hours on the grill. Indirect heat, covered, that kind of gimmick. Now, some places do boil their ribs and or steam their ribs. Scot Craig from Katie's is going to join us in 20 minutes. We'll ask him about ribs. I like slow cooking them. I don't like, honestly, I don't think it's a big plus when the bone comes out clean and the meat stays behind. I don't think that's a good sign of good ribs, believe it or not. I think kind of having to chew it off the bone a little bit, like the meat sticking to the bone still. I think that's a good sign of ribs. I'm not talking about like chewy and hard to deal with, but I don't know, that where the bone comes out just perfectly clean and the meat stays behind. I think that's a steamed or boiled rib. I think someone doing the slow, like, you know, unless it's some expert that, you know, is doing like 8, 10, 12 hours of slow cooking, so smoking, then maybe that bone might come out like that. But I think most of the time it's the cheap shortcut, the boiling or steaming gimmick. Anyway, we'll see what Scot Craig says. It's a pain in the rear end doing the other way. The long, slow process. There's a place in town that takes bacon fat, and after their ribs are, I guess, steamed, they dip them in this bacon fat and kind of put them in the refrigerator, and it coagulates on to the ribs. Then they finish them on the grill. They sort of, you know, I always say, because it's not my line, it's a Frank Brightson line, and he's not joining us in the 5 o'clock powwow because they're so slammed. He'll be with us next week. But he says brown means flavor. So they take these, I'm not trying to gross you out, steamed or boiled gray ribs, gray, and they char them and brown them. And then they put the barbecue sauce on and the bone comes out good and everybody kind of is fooled into thinking you have these fantastic ribs. But the thing about my ribs or some slow cook ribs, you can eat them with no sauce. I don't know if you'd want to eat the gray ribs with no sauce. Anyway, we'll talk barbecue spare ribs with Scot Craig at Katie's in a little while and a whole lot more. A whole lot more. I digress after the Flintstones thing with Fred Flintstone getting the rack of ribs on the side of car. They're Brontosaurus ribs. I don't know if any place serves Brontosaurus ribs. These things are about, I don't know, looks like about 8 feet tall in proportion to Fred and his vehicle. And it tips over. The whole car tips over because the rack of ribs is so big. Check out the Flintstones opening if you don't know what I'm talking about. You don't have to go far to check out these legislators. They're so proud, the Louisiana legislators. So proud of this 10 Commandments legislation. It's amazing. It is such political nonsense This is politics at its absolute worst. This is a political game. These, quote, proponents of the Ten Commandments, they may or may not be, but their point is not about the Ten Commandments. Their point is throwing something out that is highly religious, that gets their religious base applauding. I like the Ten Commandments. I don't like it in my, classroom, like Royce Duplessis said. And he's like a God-fearing Christian. You want to teach your kids about the Ten Commandments? Go to church. I mean, seriously. Hey, lazy parents, go to church. Lazy parents, take your father and mother your children for starters if you procreated. There's the first step. Number 2, you take them to church. Jeez, it's unbelievable. You take them to church. It's America. Do whatever you want, but plastering that in the classrooms is unbelievable. Royce Duplessis, God-fearing Christian man. Yeah, you want to teach your kids about the Ten Commandments? Take them to church. No, the Louisiana legislators are now making the national political talk network scene. It could be the left-leaning CNN, MSNBC. It could be right-leaning Fox or sort of neutral Newsmax, whatever. They're on these shows, different legislators from Louisiana, just skirting around the question. It's sad. Corey, do you like your ribs boiled? Do you like them on the grill? Ribs are a fantastic protein. I hear you, Corey, but do you like them boiled or do you prefer them long smoked on the grill and no boiling or steaming? Ribs come from a pig. Most of the time it's a pork rib. Now, if it is a beef rib, that rib doesn't come from a pig. That would be a cow. For the third time, Mr. Johnson, do you like your ribs on the grill for 6-8 hours, long, slow cooking, smoked, low heat, or do you like them boiled or steamed first? Barbecue sauce is probably the most important thing. You can cover up bad pork or some substandard ribs with a good barbecue sauce. That's essentially what's going on. Legitimate questions about other religions. What about if it were exactly the stuff I was talking about the other day? The exact same things, like the eightfold path to Buddhism, the 5 pillars of Islam. I don't know what that has to do with this. This is 10 Commandments. We've also included some other documents that aren't required to be posted in classrooms. Just lawsuits are going to happen. They already are filed. Louisiana's going to lose. It's going to be taxpayer money, millions of dollars. And all of these politicians, their base loves it. They love it. That's just broken Louisiana for you. We love that national political game. That's how you play politics. You either do it like me, and I'm not playing politics, I'm playing real life. You tell it like it is. I love New Orleans, but I'm not going to tell you only the good stuff. I'm going to tell you the problems too, and ideally have solutions. It's hard. Or you make up problems. You point the finger at those folks. They're the problem. And then they say, you know what? All of your problems are because of those people or because of this thing. And then the voters are mad at these people or this thing. They get foaming at the mouth. They go out and vote, and they don't even know why they're voting. But the politicians love it because they made the vote. They own the voters. They made them go vote, and they made them vote the way the politicians wanted them to vote over something that doesn't exist. And the politicians get this card that says, don't have to do crap for your term. You got voted in on BS and nonsense, and no one's expecting you to really produce. Just keep banging the, drum about the BS and nonsense and how you're fighting that. That's the easy way to be a politician. Pointing out the problems, tough solutions. Real leadership, that's the hard stuff. This 10 Commandments stuff, that's not leadership. That's not about Jesus and faith in God. It's not. Jesus and faith in God, that's me and a lot of you. 10 Commandments important to us. Some folks maybe not so much, but to us, we know who we are. That's fine. Not better or worse than anyone else. But to these politicians, it's strictly about politics. They're going to lose, yet they still win because they were for the 10 Commandments fight. Louisiana, even national, but politics at its worst because we lose. We're not getting anything except taxpayer money fighting a frivolous lawsuit. Hey, Scot Craig from Katie's up next, talking ribs. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
River Cities Total Maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Some meters from about 55 plus years ago. Some funky meters. Actually, that's not the funky meters. That's just the meters. Sorry, Cyril. No Cyril Neville. Art Neville, of course. Zigaboo Modalesti on drums. George Porter on bass. Boy, I'm going blank on lead guitar. Oh, Leo Nocentelli. That's ridiculous to screw up Leo Nocentelli. Corey Johnson with you. Fantasy Friday. Yeah, you right. 91 degrees, 57% humidity. Feels like about 98 out there. Kind of a rinse and repeat the next few days. Wake up in the morning, high 70s when you wake up. And then we hit the low to mid 90s every day. That's through the weekend. It should be a nice sunny weekend. But HOT, summer solstice, June 20th, the start of summer. I'm like, the summer started 6-7 weeks ago for us. 6-7 weeks ago. 10 Commandments making the rounds on the national political outlets. Louisiana just embarrassing ourselves. This priest said it best. I mean, this is a Catholic priest and pretty much nailed it. I don't know how you get much better than this. Let's see if I can find the Catholic priest's quote. Oh, I thought I kept it because it was so brilliant. Look, I love Jesus and the scriptures. And this is Father Michael Alejo. Look, I love, and he's a Louisiana priest. Look, I love Jesus and the scriptures, but this ain't it. Raise a glass to Louisiana looking like a fool on the national stage. How much taxpayer money will be wasted defending this in the courts, only for it to be overturned? And then, I mean, every other tweet of his is, come celebrate with me this weekend, giving thanks to God for the many blessings. I mean, this is a priest, Catholic priest. Look, I love Jesus and the scriptures, but this ain't it. It isn't. He's right. And Royce Duplessis is right. Want to teach your kids about the 10 Commandments? Take them to church. I don't get the infatuation people have with procreating and not being responsible parents, like they got a flat screen TV or something. Yeah, but then you have to you're not number one anymore. You're like number 2 or 3 or 4. Kids number 1. You're the mother, father, the spouse is number 2. You're 3 or 4. Might be a mother-in-law involved. You're 3 or 4 now. You're not number 1 anymore. No, procreating's easy. Being a parent is obviously very tough. And if you want to teach your kids about the 10 Commandments, be a really good parent and take them to church on Sunday, like Royce Duplessis said. Anyway, Louisiana legislators that are, want to ride this wave, they're all over national TV. You can check it out on social media or tonight. I guarantee you tonight, if you watch Fox, MSNBC, CNN, Newsmax, any of those outlets, left or right leaning, there'll be a Louisiana legislator on talking about the 10 Commandments in a great way that it's fantastic. Well, I shouldn't say that. You might have a Royce Duplessis type that says it's crazy and we're wasting our time. Best U.S. cities for college grads, all kind of good stuff. Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. is going to join us in the 5 o'clock power hour. Right now, I don't know where we might be heading to MidCity. I didn't check where he's at. Yeah, you're right. He could be on the corner of Iberville and Telemachus. He could be on Harrison Avenue, a block or 2 off of Canal Boulevard. Scot Craig from Katie's joins us on the program. What up, Scott?
What's up, my brother? How are you?
How are you doing, man? Where you at, Katie's or Francesca?
I'm good. No, I came home to take a nap, and then I have to go back in like an hour.
Take a nap?
Yeah, I'm tired, man. I worked I worked early this morning. We had a really busy lunch at Katie's. Great crowd. Just what's amazing about it is, and I hear this from people, it's such a compliment about how diverse your crowd is at Katie's. And it's such an honor because we work hard for that, you know.
It's a gumbo, and that's a fact. Everybody likes Katie's. I often say it's the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant, and there are locals that walk to Katie's. You know them. They plop down on a stool 5 days a week or more. But then there are folks that don't live in the Mid-City neighborhood, and it's their neighborhood, you know, place. And then there are folks that don't live in Orleans Parish, and it's their neighborhood place. I mean, you know the crew. You don't have to name them, but I'm thinking it's a few dozen regulars that are in there every day, just about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. You know, they might start their job 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 a.m. And when it ends, they head to Katie's. Bunch of characters.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I'm really proud of what we've accomplished there. My staff it's just so cool, man. I mean, when you work there, you understand that it's, you know, personality first, and then, you know, do your job and do it with a smile on your face. And the only guy you'll see getting crabby in there sometimes is me.
And Francesca's kind of the family-oriented joint, but I've been in there, you know, with some friends, just grabbing a po' boy or a pizza. You got flat-screen TVs, lots of baseball memorabilia. Yeah. That deli on Harrison's pretty cool too, Scott.
Yeah, thanks, Corey. You know, it's the reason why, you know, I don't have multiple restaurants. When we opened Francesca, we wanted it to be different from Katie's, and people would say, "Why don't you have this from Katie's?" And you know, because I didn't want anything there to be like Katie's. I wanted to do something different, and we've accomplished that. We've got a really good crew there too. Everyone works together and cares about one another, and yeah, that's the secret to business, man. I mean, it's you have to make it friendly. It's, you know, I've had opportunities to open up multiple locations of Katie's around the country, fully financed, and I just said no. I don't need that, Corey. You know, we're very happy with what we have and who we are. And if you start having multiple locations, the quality goes down. We know that.
Oh, I think you'd have to pare down your menu tremendously to duplicate it, you know, all over.
I mean, I talked about that with people in the past. You don't know how hard that is to execute.
No,
you know,
you got to go get a George Road type, and then it's 5 appetizers, 8 entrees, 3 desserts, end of menu.
Yeah, I mean, I could do a Katie's, you know,
Junior,
you know, a menu that would be easy to execute, but you wouldn't have everything. And part of the charm is going to that restaurant. You walk in, you see the smiling faces, and you see that, you know, the ambiance, which is so quintessential New Orleans. And then, you know, it's a consistent product every time you eat there.
Well, maybe you could tell these investors, look, we're not going to do Katie's, guys, but we're going to do Brenda's. And it's going to have just a few select items that we feel we can duplicate consistently. Yeah, that's the key. You know, Scott, I'm not trying to bust on anyone in particular, but I'm just telling it like I remember it. Al Copeland, you know, he starts Popeyes and then Copeland's. And Copeland's, when it opened, was really pretty damn good. And then he opens this place called Straya. And Straya was very chef-driven, you know, delicate, recipes you had to follow. And when it first opened, it was incredible. And then you're replacing these chefs with cooks Like me, I can cook. I'm going to try to follow the directions right. Oh, wow, it's not boiling, but I got to hurry. I'm supposed to add the flour only when it boils. The hell with that. I'm in a hurry. I'll add the flour now. Why did that turn out all powdery and chalky? I don't know why. Just so then the quality goes down, and it goes down quickly. The restaurant business is insanely hard, Scott, as you know, to come up with quality items. And then after you've done that, that's only half the fight, if that. You've got to have consistency where it is the exact same thing every single time. And any excuses are failure.
Yeah, and the restaurant business is intense.
It is.
The cooking side of it is 20% of it. And the rest is employee retention, because you don't want to have a lot of turnover, which we have not had there. We had some issues after the pandemic, but we've settled in again. And
you got to have quality service. It's got to be consistent. It's got to be fast. It has to repeat itself every time the same way. No, any alterations, screw ups. People hate hearing excuses at restaurants. Hate it.
Oh, yeah.
The flip side's no fun, though, Scott. I am not a big fan of the flip side. What do you do? I'm serious. The plate comes back empty, and the waiter's telling you they did not enjoy this dish at all. And you're looking at the plate going, did you pull that plate off the clean rack or not? Like, what do you do? And those situations pop up, obviously. People are, or what do you do when it's,
Ladies and gentlemen,
someone doesn't tip or something like that? What do you do when someone doesn't tip? As a restaurant owner. Scott, think about those kind of things. The other side, like when the customer's out of control.
Hey, brother, I'm hearing nothing but commercials.
Okay. All right. I apologize. We're coming right back. Knocking out a quick break. I'm not hearing those spots. Corey Johnson with you. We're with Scot Craig. Coming right back. Don't move, New Orleans.
Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, MidCity's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scot Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in MidCity.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Scot Craig's with us from Katie's. Scott, what do you do when someone eats 90% of the entree and says it was terrible and they want their money back, or someone complains about something and the plate's cleaned, or someone doesn't tip? It's $70 check and they leave $72. It's $98. They leave $100. What do you do when that happens?
If they eat like a third of it, we have a policy. I'm sorry if you don't like it. Why don't you like it? Well, it's just not what I expected. Well, it's explained on the menu. That's what it is. I'm sorry. I'll be happy to get you something else, but you're going to have to pay for it. You know why? Because we will go broke comping food. We cannot afford that anymore. It's gotten so expensive to do business that we simply can't do that anymore.
No, I went to a restaurant. I'm not going to name it. They're good usually. And it's not a steakhouse. I just ordered a steak at this restaurant. And it wasn't good, Scott. And I cut into it. I took a bite. It's like, damn, this isn't that good. And then I cut in, took another. I said, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and plow through this whole steak. And I returned it. So I probably ate 10% of it. You know what I mean? I took a bite and a half. 90+% of the steak was there, so, and they swapped it out, ended up getting a different steak instead of a ribeye or something. But no, exactly. You just, after a point you're swimming across that lake, you better just keep swimming to the other side. You swam too far out. Now, I'm in agreement. There has to be a point as a restaurateur where you're like, how are you saying you don't like it and you knocked out half the entree?
If I see something on someone's plate and I know it's not right, it's comped and I get them something else.
Well, that's a different story. Yep.
It's just, that can get really out of hand. If you get a reputation of just comping stuff, you'll be in trouble. I promise you'll be in trouble. The tip side of it.
Yeah. What about the tips? Because people are, I was in a place the other day. They don't take cash. Kind of a loaded guy came up to the bar, ordered a drink that was like $10 or $12. He just threw a 20 up there and walked off. And the manager saw that he was drunk and just sort of waved it off. All right. Another person sitting at the bar proceeded to pull out cash. The person behind the bar says, we don't take cash. And then the person goes, they just paid in cash. And the waitress sort of bartender explained what happened. And, that person was like, well, all I've got is cash. And the bill was $61 and they left $62. So I was like, all right, that person was going to pay with the credit card, didn't, and just left $1 tip on $61. I was just like, I don't understand people, how they justify being cheap and tight. I mean, if you can't afford the oil change or the tires, don't buy the Porsche. I want a 911, Scott. I'd love a 911. Oil changes are $500. Tires are $700 a piece, $1,000 a piece. So I don't have a 911 right now. Maybe one day. If you can't afford the 20% tip, don't go dine out, man. I don't get it.
No.
This is a tough business. These people are kissing your butt, you know?
You've got waiters and waitresses making, $250 an hour. And when you stiff someone, it's really tough on them. And
yep.
What happens with me, I normally pull it out of my pocket and give it to my staff.
Yeah.
Because we're such a close team. We're a family at Katie's, and if that happens, and it doesn't happen a lot, but it happens, and enough for me to consider
a mandatory tip, which is sad and pathetic.
It's auto-grading,
Yep.
And my wife is definitely against that. She thinks it's cheesy. And
it sucks. But I mean, just that you have to consider it. It tells you the number of people that have done that gimmick.
Right. If it starts happening consistently, I will have to do that. And it's sad. I tip 20% on bad service, man.
Me too. Me too. I made up for the lady tipping $1 on 61 the other night and double tipped on my bill. Because I overheard the whole thing. I was like, this is ridiculous.
That's the thing to do. And it should work out in the long run, in restaurants or bars. But it's really cheesy and sad.
No. And people, when something, I don't know where the line of demarcation is, Scott, $10, $12, $20, whatever. If it's a low price item, you throw out the percentages. You don't. Hey, I gave 20% on $7. Oh, you tipped $1.40 on 7. I'm going to tip 3 on 7. So that's 40%. No, it's not. I mean, is it? Yeah, it is. No, it's $3 is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, right. So on $7 or $12, you don't do 20%. On $12, you don't give $2.40. And say, I gave 20%. On $12, you give $4 or $5. I don't know. It's just, I just think about it the other way. What these people are doing for me, coupled with Scott, I'm coming back again and again and again.
We, fortunately, we don't face that situation very often. The food problem, we don't get a whole lot of complaints. And I'll be honest with you, Corey. If something's wrong, and man, if you tell me about it, what I don't like is when you come into my restaurant, and I'm using you as an example. We're very good friends. If you come into my restaurant, don't like something, and then don't tell me. Even after the fact, tell me so I can fix it. I don't know. I can't. We serve, 500 people a day. I can't put my eyes on every dish.
No, I mean, I proudly say things like, I will tell you about that politician. I'll tell you the truth. You don't have to worry about that. I'll tell you the truth too, Scott, but I don't brag about it. Like I'm not bragging about it the other way either, but I'm not like, you damn right I'll tell you the truth if your food sucks. No, it's not a good thing if you messed up something and I never have told you anything. I'm just saying if that were to occur, I'd be like, Scott, man, I hate to say that. It would bum me out, but I would tell you. And yeah, so I wouldn't gloat in it like I'm going to tell you about Jeff Landry, the mayor, because it's so absurd. It almost sounds like I'm gloating. No, it's I think that's what you have to do. I tell people that all the time that have restaurants when there's something that's not right. I want them to know about it,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got a gentle way of saying
positive, man. The governor's doing some good things and some things, you scratch your head. But,
did you just shift topics on us, Scott? Did you just take over the program and shift topics?
No. I'm sorry. You were talking about that earlier.
Well, we're talking about food. Scot Craig just shifts right into the governor. He's heading towards the mayor. Watch out, New Orleans.
So anyway, we're having Oysters Rockefeller tonight. It's a creamy blend of spinach, and I know it's not for Rockefeller if you use spinach. We have that. That's our special oyster tonight. We're doing pecan-crusted redfish with Brussels sprouts and a Creole potato salad. It's absolutely delicious.
Wow.
We're doing lamb chops with a creamy Parmesan orzo and smothered cabbage. Those are our three specials tonight. Anybody wants to come by and see me, go ahead and email me at scott@katiesinmidcity.com. That's Scott with one T at katiesinmidcity.com.
What made you pick lamb as a special? What made you pick lamb as a special, Scott?
We got a good line on some lamb chops. I mean, if I get, something really good and it's kind of off the reservation, as it may.
Yep.
We'll go ahead and do it ourselves, so we can just have a little something different.
Yeah. That's
on my special board. I like to have some creativeness and different.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing this weekend.
Yeah, Frank Brightson taught me something about. He's like, our seafood is dictated by the purveyor. I'd love speckled trout, but if they have flounder or whatever, we're going with that. And I learned that like with steaks, just going to Rouse's or wherever. I'm like, I want a New York strip, and I would go find a New York strip. Now I say I want a New York strip, and then if the strips don't look good, Scott, I'm getting a ribeye or something, and he calls it BA. Frank Brightson calls it BA, best available.
Yeah, and I mean, we do the same thing, The rest of our menu is all fresh and real, all Louisiana products. Sometimes we have to go outside the area and get oysters. We've done that in the past, and we'll get them from Florida or Alabama or even Texas. But it's all local. It's Southern Gulf seafood, fish, whatever it is. That's what we're serving. So why wouldn't I do that on my special board?
No.
Got a great line of desserts too. We've got lemon ricotta blueberry cake. Oh, is that good? It's so good. That's our dessert of the day, along with white chocolate bread pudding.
Wow. Scot Craig's with us from Katie's in Mid-City, from Francesca on Harrison Avenue, in between Canal Boulevard and West End. For you old timers from the olden days, that's the old Charlie's Deli location. I'm not kidding you. Going back to like 2000, 1997, Charlie's Deli. That's where Francesca is. Corey Johnson, Scot Craig's visiting with us. We're coming right back on a Fantasy Friday.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSAgency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSAgency.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Corey Johnson with you, a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Michael Hecht's going to join us in a few minutes. Hey, Leidenheimer French bread has been a part of New Orleans since 1896. Leidenheimer Baking Company, baking that Leidenheimer French bread you love, that you enjoy all the time. For 3 centuries now, over 125 years, 5 generations, New Orleans family owned and operated, only baked in New Orleans. And now they're sending that Leidenheimer French bread out, baked in New Orleans, shipped out to about 30 states or so in the Southeast. Leidenheimer French bread, Leidenheimer Baking Company. Scot Craig's with us from Katie's Restaurant in MidCity. He's also with us from Francesca out on Harrison Avenue. Hey, Scott, I was talking about ribs earlier. Some people seen that scene in a barbershop movie where they're talking about Tony Roma's, and they all love Tony Roma's ribs. And some guy goes, they boil their ribs, and the other dude's like, they don't boil their ribs. So boiled ribs, steamed ribs, slow cooked for hours ribs. Ribs that the bone comes out clean, ribs where you got to kind of chew the meat off the bone. There seems to be a lot of different ways to do it. What do you prefer? What do you think's the best way to do barbecue ribs?
They have to be smoked.
There you go.
For a long time. And you want to have a pretty smoke line in it. I think that's really important. Boiling ribs, you could bake them, after you smoke them, you can bake them to tenderize them, but you don't want to tenderize them too much. You want them to be just enough where you can pull them off the bone and get that flavor. And then have a great sauce. And we've got a blackberry jalapeno sauce at Katie's.
Wow.
Chef Knuckles at Francesca will do ribs occasionally on Thursdays, but just occasionally. It's a treat.
How long are they smoked for, Scott? Is it like an 8-hour thing?
No, it's like 4 hours in our smoker across the street.
Nice.
From Katie's.
Nice.
like 4 hours. We use really good baby backs. And I have a question for you. Chef Knuckles from from Francesca wants to know, how do you like our gooey butter cake? Because that's his recipe. It's a recipe that I sent down that was my mother-in-law's, but I think Knuckles turned that into his own. It's the best gooey butter cake in the city. Do you like it?
I tell Knuckles I'll be heading to Francesca tonight for gooey butter cake.
They're really good, man. They're sitting there in the front when you walk in, so you haven't had one. You got to have one, man. It's the best. It's the best.
What do y'all roll till about 8 tonight?
Yeah, 8 on Fridays. If it's not busy, we'll shut it down at 7:30.
All right, I'll be there for the cake tonight.
Yeah.
What is it, Scott? Tell me the exact. What is it? Besides, it sounds like it's rich and moist.
It's just cake batter all mixed up and then baked in the oven, but it's not baked to the point where it rises. It's you can't have the egg in it.
So it's dense. It's dense. It's dense.
Yeah, it's very dense.
Nice.
It's really good.
Good.
It's a St. Louis classic.
Nice.
It was created in St. Louis.
It's got a little cold. You got a little summer cold going, Scott?
Oh, it's horrendous. I just got it today.
I hear you. A little sniffling going over there in June.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all right, man. You're a trooper for staying on the program. I like your answer on the ribs. I like them not boiled or steamed. I like sauce has to be great. And I don't want the bone popping out clean. I want to grab the bone and take a little meat off the bone with my teeth.
That's when you have to boil them. I mean, that's what happens when you boil them.
You get that. It comes out clean. I don't want that.
Yeah. And they fall apart and all the flavors boil.
Exactly. I don't want, when the meat's gray, I don't want gray meat.
No.
I don't want gray meat.
Can't do that.
No.
You season them with a dry rub and you throw them on the smoker. And when they're ready, they're ready. That's it.
I'm going to send you into the weekend on a great note. You want to hear 2 quick LaRue stories?
Yeah.
All right. One guy didn't tip. And the guy was loud and had a big party. It was like 12 people. He walks out. He's in the parking lot. He's still leading the crew. Everybody's following him. Warren LaRuth goes out and confronts him, walks up and goes, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Warren LaRuth." And the guy just takes it in like, "See, I'm the man. This is the owner of the restaurant and the chef, and he's coming out to say hey to me." So the guy's eating it up. The crew's all around him. They're like, "Look at Johnny's with Warren LaRuth. It's amazing. The owner, Johnny, never stops. He's the man." "How was everything?" "Fantastic," Johnny says. Warren LaRuth says, "Why'd you only tip 6% or 4%? And then the guy's kind of miffed and baffled. He just comes up with some BS line and acts like he's offended. And LaRuth says, "Never come back to my restaurant ever again."
Wow. That sounds like LaRuth.
Yep.
But he was a great chef. Arguably the greatest chef this city's ever produced.
There was this actress named Liz Taylor.
Yeah.
And she came in with about 20 people at a table. And Warren LaRuth changed his coat, put on a fresh white coat, went out and greeted everyone. Bent over to Liz Taylor and said, "I'd love to get a picture with you." She said, "No problem if you'll take care of the check." And he said, "I don't need a picture with you."
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm telling you the true story. Liz Taylor.
So,
that Liz Taylor.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yep. "I'll take a picture if you'll take care of the check. I don't need a picture with you." You're paying the bill, Liz Taylor.
For 20 people.
Hell yeah, you're paying the bill.
Take care of the check for her.
Yeah, exactly.
And how much money did she make?
Oh, come on. She could have just pulled off, one of her rings and it would have paid for 50 meals.
Right. More than that, probably.
Exactly. Bought the restaurant with the diamond necklace. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Scott, the lesson is say no to Liz Taylor for the photo, and people that don't tip, tell them never to come back to Katie's again.
That's right. And Blue Boy can bark at him.
Yep, Blue Boy will tell him. What are you saying, Blue Boy? Head to Katie's in Mid-City, the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. Get over to Francesca Deli in Lakeview. So good. Don't forget about the pizza. Blue Boy's covered all the bases, Scott.
Thanks, Corey.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you, Scott. Scot Craig from Katie's and Francesca. Don't move, New Orleans.
Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. Then we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Whatever said is, total maintenance keeps you cool. Whatever said is, total maintenance keeps you cool. Whatever said is, total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. Whatever said is, total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future. At the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship.
Wow.
The mate was a mighty
I never understood this. Suspending disbelief is one thing with televisions and movies, but what normal person would ever get on a boat? Seriously, I wouldn't get on a little sailboat in a swimming pool with Gilligan in the skipper. Much less like, hey, we're going out on a 3-hour tour. You deserve to be lost. It's Skipper and Gilligan. If you had number 9 at the controls, no problem. Let's go on a 3-hour tour, Drew Brees. Yeah, you right. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. We have reached it. The weekend's upon us. I love this very moment right now. A little bit after 5 p.m. That means for most of us, 100% of the work week in the books. A little bit after 5 p.m. on a Friday. It also means 100% of the weekend smack dab in front of you. Yeah, you right. We don't think about this time. You know when we think about the weekend? Like Sunday afternoon. It's almost over. I got to go to work tomorrow. You know, that's when we think about it. Sunday night. My God, that weekend flew by. Seemed like Saturday morning was just yesterday. It was. It's yesterday morning. No, it goes by pretty quick. You have to embrace it. I will say this, which I don't know. It seems this way to me. The 2-day weekend goes by slower than 2 days of the work week. I think the weekend goes by at a nice pace. It just sort of works out that way. Obviously, it's 48 hours, just like Monday and Tuesday or Tuesday and Wednesday. But 2 days in the work week seems to go by a lot quicker, ironically. You would think it'd be the opposite. I'm enjoying the weekend. Boy, it goes by fast. Work sucks. It's taking a long time. I don't know. Maybe it's because work never sucks for me. I like work. I like what I do. I'm passionate about it. So I guess maybe that's it. But the weekend's long and nice. I don't know. It seems like it's always been that way, except when I was a kid. I did get the Sunday blues a little bit when I was like, oh boy, a whole week of school coming up. You know, and I was like 12, 13, 14, finished playing some football at the levee at 5, 6 o'clock on a Sunday. And, you know, the weekend's done and you're a kid. You're like, oh boy, my 2 days of freedom are done and it's 5 days of school now. Hey, it is a Fantasy Friday. It is a little after 5. We like blowing the 5 o'clock whistle at this very moment. Where's that? There it is. We like blowing the 5 o'clock whistle at this very moment. Hey, the 5 o'clock whistle appropriately brought to you by Katie's in MidCity. We just had Scot Craig on the program last hour talking about Katie's, Francesca, talking about food, all kind of good stuff. Restaurants, tipping, how folks don't tip. The restaurant perspective. Scott handles it pretty good. No, there are folks that go to a restaurant, like almost clean their plate, then complain to the waiter they didn't like it. It's like, okay, if you didn't like it, why did you pretty much almost knock out the entire entree? But people are like that. I see it all the time. People at restaurants just not tipping, trying to get away with not tipping, trying to justify a crappy tip. That just has to suck. I mean, seriously, you're a full-grown adult. And event after event, restaurant after restaurant, getting your car parked at a lot, whatever, always shorting the tip. always, and you mentally know it too, and you fool yourself into justifying it, whatever, but it's always on your mind. What a load of bricks to carry around your entire life. I'm a cheap, tight ass. You know? I'm not rich or wealthy. It has nothing to do with money. Oh, Corey, you have money, whatever. It has nothing to do with money. It's, you know, it's where you're going, what you're doing, who's taking care of you, and what you do. Everybody has different levels of that. You know, I don't go to the high-end restaurants all the time. I don't fly on a private jet. I've never flown first class in my life. And it's fine if you do. It's fine if you. Money is all relative. Outside of poor and having no money, like lower middle class, upper middle class, rich, wealthy, money is relative. Obviously, more money for a lot of folks is a better thing. We all want more money, but it's also relative. The rich folks, they do more stuff. They spend more money. They tip more. The regular folks like us, we have a regular amount of stuff we do. Doesn't mean you don't tip and take care of the people that are taking care of you. And it's not about rich or wealthy. It's about not being tight or cheap. And you folks that are tight or cheap, you know you are. Because you're either admitting it to yourself right now, or you're trying to admit or trying to justify that you're not tight or cheap. The folks that aren't tight or cheap, they're not even thinking about tight or cheap because they know they're not. But you know who you are. I see it at restaurants, people tipping 7%, 10%. It's embarrassing. Don't go out to eat. You're screwing over the waiter if you think so or not. You didn't like your meal. Was it the waiter's fault or the kitchen? You know, I don't get people. Take care of people that take care of you, especially if you want to go back and you're going to see that person again. My God, going to stiff them? I never understood that. Anyway, we were talking, the flip side with Scot Craig when you get the ornery customer. Wow. Check out the national political talk shows, the network shows. Could be Fox, could be MSNBC, CNN, whatever. Newsmax, whatever, wherever. This weekend, it's going to be a lot of Louisiana legislators that were pro 10 Commandments on the classroom walls. They're all over these network programs, trying to justify what can't be justified. And they can't, it's funny, they can't answer questions directly. You ask some of these representatives about what if it were the, you name it, the 5 pillars of Islam that were on the eightfold path of Buddhism. We're going to put the eightfold path of Buddhism. These are great things, just like the 10 Commandments. It's not like a downside. It's a good moral compass. We're going to put the eightfold path of Buddhism on every classroom wall. These same folks that are saying the 10 Commandments, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not religious. It's history. We need it more than ever. They would lose their you-know-what if you tried to put Buddhism or Hinduism or Jewish, anything, any religion outside of Christianity. Any religion outside of Christianity, these folks would freak out. It's amazing the lack of empathy from the extremists. They see nothing beyond themselves. It's insanely selfish. Figure out how to get some empathy. Go to therapy, talk to people that have it, get in touch with your emotions. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. But justify the 10 Commandments, and I'm Christian. The 10 Commandments, that's my thing. I'm pro 10 Commandments. But like Royce Duplessis, you want to teach your kids about the 10 Commandments, go to church. Here's the problem. 10 Commandments on the classroom wall. It's like, be a good parent. Parent your kids right. Actually, don't just procreate, but be a father and a mother. Do your job as parents. And if the 10 Commandments are important to you, bring your kids to church, you lazy bums. You love the 10 Commandments. You going to church? You bringing your kids to church? No, Royce Duplessis is right. He's a God-fearing Christian. Want to learn about the 10 Commandments? Send your kids to church. Go to church. Anyway, this is pure politics. The folks, this is what's so great about it. The folks that are pushing the 10 Commandments thing, they know it's pure politics. They know their base is going to not think it's pure politics. They know their base is going to be fooled. These politicians know it. We're fooling our base. We know there's no way this will be law. We'll get lawsuits. We're going to sue. We're going to set up our attorney friends with taxpayer dollars so they can fight the frivolous lawsuit. And we'll always be known as the governor and legislators that were pro 10 Commandments. So our base will eat this up. It is a win-win. If somehow the fluke, the 1 out of a million, it sticks, win. The situation that's going to happen, the 999,999 out of a million, it's going to be repealed. Still a win because we fought for your 10 Commandments. No, if it wasn't pathetic, sad Louisiana that so desperately needs leadership, I'd say it's a pretty creative political scam they're pulling there. But the problem is it's unconstitutional and it doesn't benefit any of us, doesn't help our kids, money in our pockets, economy, none of that. Corey Johnson with you.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. No AC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. No AC.com, your cool spot.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet. Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com. Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scot Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's.
when you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Or as they say in Kansas, yes, you are correct. Corey Johnson with you on a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. 5 o'clock powwow headed towards the weekend in New Orleans. Tough to beat. Hey, are you heading northbound on the Causeway right now? Why don't you fire in a big to-go order at Trey Yen? Walk in the door with a big box of to-go Chinese cuisine from Trey Yen. You're the champion at the house. Mom, dad, the kids, everybody loves Trey Yen. Better yet, why don't you go dine in at Trey Yen? At the foot of the Causeway, you North Shore folks. South Shore folks, that means 25 short minutes from Lakeside Mall. You're at the front door of Trey Yen in Mandeville. So good. It is a Fantasy Friday edition of the program. Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. is with us again. What up, Miguel?
What up, KJ?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's beautiful out. Good week, productive. Super Bowl fun. Nice Wednesday working from home. It's feeling good. What can I say?
Yep. Hey, Michael, I'm not trying to make lemons out of lemonade. I'm not trying to turn something that's a negative into a positive. I promise you when I say this. But, the last 50 years, we've seen incredible growth in U.S. cities and, across the country, like in the last 40, 50 years, just insane growth. I mean, if you think about large cities 50 years ago, of course, it's like New York, Chicago, L.A., and Boston, Philly, stuff like that. But now all of a sudden it's, Phoenix with 4 or 5 million folks, Denver with 3 million, Seattle with 5 million in the metro, Miami with 6+ million in the metro, throw in the Houston, Dallas, Atlanta's, and now Vegas. And so just explosive growth all across America. It's lots of jobs, it's economy, lots of folks moving there, on and on and on. New Orleans has kind of missed it. Texas, fastest growing state in the country the last 40, 50 years, the South, fastest growing region. A lot of those places suck, Michael. I mean, I went to Houston a few months ago. I love the money. I love the economy. You can have the traffic, you can have the infrastructure, you can have the spread out, the genericness. I mean, I think in a way New Orleans could come out a winner. Like, we missed the last 50 years of growth, but we're not some congested urban, mess. So it's got elbow room here. You can get around easily. We punch above our weight with the tourism and convention that leads to great restaurants and venues and, shopping and all that kind of stuff. So would I like the growth and the college kids moving here and all that? Sure. But I don't know. I don't want to be Houston, and everywhere appears to be Houston.
Yeah, no, I think that there is something to that theory that we missed the post-'80s boom. So as a result, we retain a lot of our attractiveness. And, now we just got to get some of the basics tightened up like we're starting to over the past couple of years. And we can find a middle ground. But I think the truth of it is that cities are either growing and dealing with growing pains, or they're shrinking and dealing with stagnation pains. I don't think there are many that are really steady. So you got to kind of pick what you want. I would rather manage growing pains than stagnation pains.
Yep.
But your point is valid. It's actually easier to grow out of stagnation in terms of your architecture, your urban architecture, than it is to shrink back down. There's no way to ever make Houston dense and enjoyable. I mean, you can have planned areas like the Woodlands, but never downtown Houston. There's no way to make Phoenix, really that lovely, weather notwithstanding, even given what ASU is doing. So, no, I don't think you're making lemonade. I think that you're actually just pointing out that there's some paradoxes here and some that kind of give us an arbitrage.
Yeah, we're just like a long hair hippie. We can always get our hair cut. Those places, they cut their hair too short. It's going to take a while to grow out for them to be. You can't reverse it. It's too late, Anyway, I'm with you. I'd rather be with the growth than the stagnation, but those places are a mess, Mike. I'm going up to New York and for a wedding, and we're going to like Westchester. And, if it were New Orleans, it'd be 40 minutes in a car. In New York, it's going to be 2 hours in a car, Yeah,
no, I was up in New York this past week, and I'm born and bred in New York, and it just occurred to me again, it's a place that is somewhat interesting.
I love it.
Of just with a jumble there, but it's not a nice place to live. And the thing is, Corey, you can't even buy your way out of it. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter if you're Mike Bloomberg. It still is dense. You still got to get around. It still is a jumble.
Yep.
And so, there's some places that have managed to hold on to it and thrive, but not many in America. I mean, Vienna, Austria is a lovely city. It's had moderate growth. It's lovely. Copenhagen in Denmark is an amazing city, but it's pretty small. It's really only about 1 million people. It's very difficult to balance the two.
It is.
It's not it's inherently unstable.
Well, plus, when people are throwing money at you, it's hard to say no.
Like I was looking at when you're in New York, if you get a chance to go look at Billionaires Row, over on 57th, South Central Park South. It's just surreal. There are these bizarre string bean high, 130-story residential buildings for oligarchs and sheiks to park their money. And it just is alienating and weird. It's a little bit interesting, but mostly just off-putting. It's like these big architectural middle fingers to society.
New York, you want to know who New York's for? 25-year-old kids eating slices of pizza, eating at the diner, taking the subway to work, just getting started. New York's a blast. After about 40, you better not be rich, you better be wealthy, where you can go to the roof of the building and take a chopper where you need to go.
No, we left when we had our second kid, and after running after the subway with a stroller, I listened and I heard New York saying we don't want to anymore.
Yeah, no, and the folks that do that and deal with that, they're tough people. I see the old couple walking in Central Park. They're 90 years old. They've lived in Manhattan their entire lives. I like those people. Those are tough people. But that's a tough life, though, man, for that long period of time, no matter how much money you have, like you said, Michael. Anyway, New Orleans is easy, Michael. It's not a lot of traffic. It's easy to get around. The back way. Everybody's your friend. It's different than anywhere else. So I don't know.
Yeah, sure. I agree.
Michael Hecht's with us from Greater New Orleans, Inc. Now comes the real Corey. I don't even know what Zumper is. Do you know what Zumper is, Michael?
What is?
Zumper.
Dumper?
Zumper with a Z. Zumper. Zumper.
No. Was it one of the Smurfs?
I thought it was one of the Smurfs, too. It's actually Mario Brothers. Anyway, Zumper did the best U.S. cities for college graduates, 100 major U.S. cities. The factors were average income, average rent, unemployment rate, and social environment like food and dining options. So I would think average income, we didn't do so well. Average rent, high in New Orleans, probably didn't do so well. Unemployment rate high, probably didn't do so well. Social environment, we probably kicked butt and took names. Anyway, Zumper says New Orleans is 87 out of 100. Baton Rouge is 91 out of 100. Shreveport, 92 out of 100. The bottom 5 were Boise, Newark, Providence, Augusta, Georgia, and Laredo, Texas. And the top 5 were Minneapolis, Denver, Seattle, Columbus, Ohio, and San Francisco. Zumper.
Yeah. I don't know about that. That's I'm not really, that doesn't really square with me. I mean, Providence is the home of Brown University.
Yep.
They've got a lot of activity there. Boise actually is quite a lovely city. Taken a lot of California expats. It's got biking paths all over the place. It's got like 5 Fortune 100s. I mean, I don't know.
Well, Fred Zumper's going to be really upset with you, Michael.
Yeah.
I've never heard of Zumper in my life.
Yeah.
Anyway, 2024, man, social media, whatever. Hey, Michael, I like this. First off, I like Alaska Air flying into New Orleans. I just think that's cool. It's Alaska Air. What are you doing way down here? They have a nonstop New Orleans to Portland, Oregon, man. It's a 5.5 hour flight. It's a long one, but nonstop Alaska Air. You got to like that. Another nonstop for the city.
No, nonstop. The nonstops to the West Coast are great. We've got way more nonstops than we should for our population domestically. Internationally, we're doing pretty well. The British Airways flight, we've got a 787-10 that we're flying this summer, so it's got a first class in it. So we're trying out real first class.
Wow.
Now we got to get another one to Turkey or something.
Hey, real quick, Michael. Real quick, the 787 Dreamliner, the 8 is the original one they brought to New Orleans. The 9 has more seats. The 10 is longer, has more seats. So it means they like the market a little. They're growing. They're experimenting, right?
Yeah. The market's been pretty solid for them. The planes are pretty full. They're making decent money. The only thing is that they would like to get more people originating from New Orleans and going to London. It's a little bit unbalanced with more people coming from London here. It's kind of just a numbers game. I mean, I don't know how we're going to ever really fix that. So many more people in London coming over from Europe. But, overall, it's been a solid flight, and they've been happy with it.
I always talk about this, Michael. There's no, some computer model you can run where, hey, Delta, you have 1,000 flights out of Atlanta. If you moved 8 of them through New Orleans, it would actually be more efficient for you guys. Is Delta the 1,000 out of Atlanta? They're at full-blown efficiency doing that? Or that's just how it falls because they're based out of Atlanta and maybe someone's making the calls in an easy way and not scrutinizing it? And then, could you have flights like that we don't have, like a Mexico City? Like Houston has 9 a day. Mexico City to New Orleans, that might be land 90 minutes before the London flight takes off, and it's sort of like that old school British Airways flight that was Mexico City, New Orleans to London, London to New Orleans to Mexico City.
Yeah, what they do is they've got something called PDUs, which are people direct each way. And they do have a model, and they look at that. And I think the issue with Delta is that for them to be able to switch people over to a direct out of New Orleans to, let's say, Paris, they would have to think they could charge more than they're getting for them connecting through Atlanta to go to Paris. So they're running these simulations, and they're making some assumptions within them about where they can basically get the best combination of load factor combined with fare.
Right.
And the challenge that we have with Delta is that, they're forcing everybody over the Atlanta hub. I guess that they find that works for them. So that's our challenge. It's hard to pull people off of that hub because in order to avoid the hub, they would have to charge enough premium to make it worth it. And I guess that exposes them to other people offering it cheaper.
Michael, what is, I mean, it's like a few dozen people a day, I think, that fly into Louis Armstrong that never leave the airport, that go to another gate and fly out, right? It's not
it's
barely anybody, right?
We're a point-to-point airport. Yeah, that's why we don't have a hotel.
Why don't we try to be just slightly outside of point to point? I mean, Charlotte decades ago said Atlanta's right there, Reagan International's right there, Dulles. We're going to go for it, and they did. You know, I don't know why we can't. Just because we have Dallas, Houston, Atlanta surrounding us.
The way that we would do that, Corey, is that we would become what I would call maybe not a hub, but the collector airport for going down to the Caribbean, right? You fly into New Orleans and then you hop on Breeze Airways or Southwest Airways to the Caribbean instead of having to go to Miami.
Right.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, it makes sense to me too. I wish we could work that out and expand the airport. What's going on at the airport? Anything good? Any new news? Anything?
Well, I talked to them today. We're getting ready for the Super Bowl is the main thing. The next big addition is going to be a new road from the old terminal, the south side, up to the north side to make that shuttle more pleasant. And then eventually there'll be a train that goes on that road. So that's kind of the next thing that's happening.
Now, I don't quite I don't understand the road. Doesn't it parallel the existing road?
Yeah, but the new one will go inside the fence. It'll be direct and faster. And you won't have to go on that nasty weirdness.
I got you. It's on the airport property, essentially, not the airline.
Exactly.
Yeah. So maybe that'll be just like an airline exit, which is really what it is right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that'll. Okay, that's.
And then we're talking about. I'm going to try to talk to the folks from Uber and Lyft and try to talk them out of doing this nonsense with that we have right now. Where we've got surge pricing all the time, which is a real pain in the ass. You know, we hate the surge pricing, which we have for for big events and Super Bowls and such, and trying to get away from that.
Seems like local taxi companies would try to, go have a lower price.
Well, the problem is, they do. The problem is that when the taxi companies come, then what people do is they book their Uber.
Yep.
They go out to pick up the Uber, find out that they're going to get charged $100 for a trip into the city. Then they go and wait on the taxi line, and then you got a clogged up line.
Yep.
So it creates this kind of disequilibrium in the system.
Yep. We're visiting with Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans Inc. on a Friday. This segment's always brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant in Elmwood. They're on the North Shore too. And they're hiring not just 2 or 3 job openings, dozens and dozens and dozens of jobs. For a full listing of positions available, go to Latrim.com. Latrim spelled Laitram, Latrim.com. What's going on business-wise? You got some wins, Michael, to report?
Yeah, we got some wins. We've got an Australian company, Bird On, that makes vessels for the Coast Guard. That's expanding in Jefferson Parish and Elmwood, adding about 25 jobs there. And that's great. I love these boat building companies, whether they're Australian like Bird On or they're local startups like we have Metal Shark down in the Bayou, right? Or you got, Edison Schwest that's building these vessels for Ørsted, the Danish company. That's fantastic. I love that, right? And then what else do we got? We got a Renegade, which is coming out of, they're going to be moving their headquarters out of where they are now, which is over on Chapatoulas. They're going to be consolidating it in a manufacturing facility that's going to be over in Elmwood as well. And, they've got a beautiful place on Chop, so it's not that they don't like that. The issue is that they want to get into manufacturing, so they got to get everybody together in the factory. And overall, that's great for the region that they're doing that.
Well, why the move to the suburbs? Is that like every city USA, Michael, or is it a New Orleans phenomenon? I saw Riley Foods. They still have their historic Riley building, and they still have offices in there, and the the restaurant and all of that. But they're moving, I think, from the old Texaco building, that building I called Darth Vader, the black one with the wedge.
They have a very nice office there. I don't know with Renegade. I understand why they're doing it. It's because they're getting into manufacturing and they want to consolidate around the facility. They love their office on Tchoupitoulas. It just made sense for them to evolve into the next phase. With Riley, I don't know as much what that's about. I mean, there were complaints about quality of life in downtown, but I think the reality of it is that, look, downtown is getting better in terms of homelessness, in terms of crime. And I know it's getting better in terms of infrastructure because I'm doing it. I think it's getting hard to get people to come into offices these days. And so a lot of downtowns are kind of distressed and they're kind of having to reconfigure, take buildings and turn them into apartments, put the police headquarters there like we're doing. I love that. So I don't really know what's going on with the Riley thing as much, to be honest.
Yeah, this makes your gig tough, man. I mean, it's like 1 minute you're like, I want to fill Class A office space in New Orleans. It's like, hey, Michael, people are working from home now. It's just like, man, I mean, talk about just constant, movement. You have to just be on top of it.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Exactly. Telling you. It doesn't stop. The ball doesn't stop. It's almost unfair. What do you mean you don't need office space? People working at home. That can't lead to productivity. Yet it leads to productivity.
I was having a meeting, Corey, with somebody in Rockefeller Center in New York on this past Monday, prestigious office. And she said, wow, I'm glad there are people in the office here because usually it's empty on a Monday. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, people only come into the office here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I was like, that's crazy. You're in Rockefeller Center. This is Fifth Avenue, expensive offices. Why do you allow that? She says, because if I forbade it, they would quit. I'm like, man, that's...
Or productivity might even go down. It's crazy.
I don't know. They just don't like driving into New York because it's what you said.
Yeah.
They don't like taking the subways.
Yep.
It's times are changing right now. I don't think that we're ever going to go back to the pre-COVID times entirely.
Yeah, I agree with you. Michael Hecht's with us from Greater New Orleans Inc. Hey, Michael, you're the point man for the Super Bowl for Governor Jeff Landry. What's the latest and greatest there? Any new news to report?
Just progress now where you can see it on Poydras Street. You can see it on the Crescent City Connection. The whole downtown's kind of becoming a bit of a mess, but I love it. That's what this stuff looks like. Everybody is, really on the hot foot. We're getting some deals set up to get murals up around downtown as well, which I'm really excited about. We're trying to figure out what to do with Plaza Tower. Everybody's been incredibly cooperative, and I'm just, so it's been a lot of fun seeing the projects begin to move forward. So, our plan, Corey, is that we're going to push as much out as we can, early in hurricane season, because we never know when we're going to have to take a week or two off.
Yep.
So we're just going to we're trying to front load it really hard now. And I'm just appreciative, the city, the state, Sewer and Water Board, everybody's out there rocking and rolling. It's been really fun so far.
What popped up that you didn't think about, or your crew, me included, didn't think about, that someone's suggestion, you're like, damn, that's so obvious, we have to fix that, and we just missed it? We weren't thinking of anything. Anybody come up with something that wasn't really thought about?
They're beginning. I mean, it's all these weird little things. Like, for example, I was talking to somebody involved in the last Super Bowl, and he said, two things you're going to get hit with at the end is, one, everybody's going to want a parade permit, so you got to be ready for that, because they're all going to want a second line. And second, you're going to have an issue because all of the security forces, the cops, are going to get sucked up by the NFL. So all the hotels and everybody else are going to be scrambling for details. So those are very specific things based on experience that, you got to just know. And I had an interesting conversation with a woman who ran the Super Bowl in Minneapolis. And she said, I said, man, how did you pull off a Super Bowl in February in Minnesota? And she said, we just embraced it. We called the event Bold North. We met people at the airport with mittens, and we just did it. I said, that's great. I said, you know what? God bless New Orleans.
Yep. No. not to get off topic, you brought up Minneapolis. You know what I love about that city, and it's really smart, and I don't know why we didn't embrace the same idea just for the opposite reason. I like how every damn building in the CBD is connected by a catwalk.
Yeah. It's like, well, Houston does it underground, right? We would have to do it with catwalks.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't really do that. It's interesting. I don't know.
No, and there's retail in between the buildings and stuff. So it actually, like, it pays for itself, the catwalk over time. And it would just be neat to be able, if it's raining or hot, to go from the dome to, like, the convention center through buildings.
No doubt.
Anyway, all right, you ready for left field? A quick rundown before we let you go for the weekend, Michael?
Let's do it, my friend.
All right, some of these are oldies but goodies. When's the River District breaking ground, for Christ's sake?
Good question. I have to find out and text you. I need to know that. So, you know what? I'm not even going to hazard an answer. I think everything is cleared up now on the golf side. I don't know when the groundbreaking is, so I got to find out. I apologize.
Louis Larcella is about 65, so we don't want him to get to like 90 before we break ground.
No.
Jeez, I mean, it's unbelievable. Anywhere else, they'd be halfway through this development. We haven't broken ground. When was this thing announced? Like 3.5, 4 years ago? Has anyone in New Orleans ever heard of the time kills deals quote?
Yeah, no, it's New Orleans is we make it way too difficult to get projects done. We just do. It's a structural problem, a cultural problem.
It is.
It's real.
It is. It's in New Orleans, asleep at the wheel. What's up with Top Golf? I see 504 Golf's moving along. They look like they're trying to be open for the Super Bowl. Top Golf seems to have no sense of urgency for the Super Bowl, Michael.
Yeah, 504 is getting built out. I think for the Super Bowl or for that time of year. Mardi Gras. I don't know what's going on, so I'm gonna reach out to Lewis after this and just get the 411.
Yeah, because
I need to know that
you don't want to lose Top Golf.
No,
it's a cool little thing. It's going to be a nice little part of that.
Nice.
Yep.
Right.
Speaking of,
people were like, "Oh, it's going to ruin the character of the Lord Gardens." No,
please,
that's not the Lord Gardens.
Exactly. It's right next to that. What's that crappy apartment building they built? I was with the Soleil. I'm walking in 20 years ago with a table with a buddy of mine. We hit the stucco wall and it cuts right through to the chicken wire. We're like, holy smokes.
Right. That's right.
That's a Cypress wooden table. Yeah, those people are on drugs. It's only going to add to that neighborhood. Hey, I saw that in Birmingham, you saw the Major League game in Birmingham. They've got 3 minor league parks. They got the historic one that they played in. They've got the Hoover Met that they built like when we built Zephyr Stadium. And then they moved back to downtown with a brand new downtown ballpark. Is it time, Michael, especially with Zephyr Field being transformed more into like football, lacrosse, soccer, almost anything but baseball? Is it time for a minor league baseball park at the riverfront?
That would be amazing. And we could finally get a minor league team with the name that we deserve. Not Jefferson, for sure. Not the baby cakes. Oh my God.
And you play in the old school AA Southern Association, which is now Gulfport, Mobile, Pensacola. You got this I-10 rivalry. It's pretty cool.
It's pretty fun, right? Yeah, I agree. And those teams they've gotten really good on the marketing side, right? I think the Savannah Bananas,
yeah, it's fun. The baseball's almost an incidental. You do it downtown at the River District on the, home run goes in the Mississippi. That's like Sports Center type stuff. Minor league soccer stadium maybe for the River District.
Yeah, something out there on the water. I was in Pittsburgh recently, and they've got Highmark Stadium on the water where their minor league soccer team plays. And it's just beautiful.
It's just incredible. Hey, if the arena can be retrofitted, made fairly modern and state-of-the-art for the NBA, I think that's going to be the route, Michael, redoing the Smoothie King Center. If not, $800 million on the riverfront, huh?
Yeah, I will say that's a good question about where the new arena goes. I suspect that they'll just tear down and redo the existing site. But it'd be awfully nice to have it on the river. You're for sure right about that.
And then imagine the Smoothie King Center into something else, some auxiliary building for the dome,
Yeah, practice field or something.
I don't know exactly. We always got reimagining Bourbon Street, Harrah's land-based casino monopoly. We'd be digging. All right, last one, Michael. You ready?
Yeah.
We're going to clean up the city for the Super Bowl. It's like when the Pope came. We put on, our best foot forward. It's great. We're cleaning up the city. How do we use the Super Bowl to springboard the city to clean? And most importantly, keep it that way. Change the mindset, the mentality. How can metro area citizens, think in a different way and act in a different way when it comes to litter? It's a sickness here. We might be the filthiest city. How do we clean it up? And this is the tough one. Keep it that way permanently.
Well, what I'm hoping is that we can find some mechanisms to systematize what we're doing right now to clean up for the Super Bowl. And it might be that what we're doing right now, which is having these weekly war room meetings, that we go and do the same thing going forward. I mean, the reason why everything's getting done is that we're meeting every week with all the departments. And it's like, remember that old car show, Pimp My Ride?
Yep.
I was joking with Joe Threat. I'm like, Joe, you're like Exhibit. We get in here and you're like, Sewer and Water Board, what you got for me? DPW, tell me about Poydras Street. Parks and Parkways, what's happening under the overpass? And, it's great. And people are held accountable and there's excitement. So I think it might be what we need to do going forward.
Oh, speaking of, you just gave me another one. What, Earhart Claiborne? That's going to be like green space over there by the Home Depot, by Ray Nagin's Home Depot.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that. That's going to be a staging area for the Super Bowl, so it's going to be used for trucks and such.
Oh, all right. I thought Earhart and Claiborne by Ray Nagin's Home Depot is going to be green space under the bridge and all that.
No, that's just the area right next door. Oh, you're right, right there. Sorry, right by where the food trucks are right now, where it's all gravel. That little area is going to be grass. That's right.
Gotcha. Just make it a little more user friendly. It's amazing how many folks pipe through there to a Saints game.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And by the way, those homeless encampments on Chop, right at Calliope, they're gone. I mean, they're being landscaped now for parks. It's great to see.
Michael Hecht, always a pleasure, brother. Thanks for the time, as always. Have a great weekend.
You as well, my friend. Appreciate you.
That's Michael Hecht from Greater New Orleans, Inc. Corey Johnson with you on a Friday. Hey, Baton Rouge, Helm Paint and Decorating. New Orleans' own Helm Paint and Decorating has invaded the capital city for over 55 years in New Orleans, steering us right. Now you folks up in Tigertown, you got the paint store you deserve. Painting experts, that's all they do. You won't find tires or food or washers and dryers. Helm Paint and Decorating, 4 Metro Baton Rouge locations. Benjamin Moore Paint, free 2-hour delivery in Metro Baton Rouge. That means West Baton Rouge, like Brewley, Port Allen. That means East Baton Rouge. You bet Prairieville, even as far east as Gonzales. Free 2-hour delivery in Baton Rouge. When you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, when you got to paint in Metro Baton Rouge, do it once, do it right. They'll steer you in the right direction. Helm Paint and Decorating, now in Baton Rouge.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants, Leidenheimer French bread.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Scot Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in MidCity.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe. In the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line, Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 airy locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Yeah, you right. Fantasy Friday edition of the program. You heading home from work right now? Lots of Rouse's locations to take care of you. Best quality, best selection, best price. Over 60 years, over 60 Rouse's. Tastes like home. Rouse's Markets. Get your goodies for the weekend at Rouse's. Corey Johnson with you. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed Scot Craig joining us from Katie's, joining us from Francesca Restaurant. Michael Hecht just joined us from Greater New Orleans, Inc. He joins us every Friday. Scot Craig and I were talking about ribs. What, Blue Boy? You like ribs that are slow cooked, smoked for 6 to 8 hours. No what? No boiling. No steaming. You want long smoke, low heat process. Blue Boy, you're a genius, buddy. What else? Thank the corporal and thank the viewing and listening audience. Blue Boy, I don't know how I do the program without you. Thank you, buddy. Down, Blue Boy, down.
On the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.